How's it going today, guys? Today we'll be taking a beginner look at Pantheon. Right now, Pantheon is really strong in the game and in the meta. He's also a really big pick right now because he can play so many different lanes, and he's also dominating in all those different lanes. So he can either be playing mid, top, support, and also jungle. Uh, the jungle's a little off meta, but the other three roles, he's actually really high up in the tier list for right now. And that's why I want to do this video on Pantheon, just to give you a rundown of his mechanics and the playstyles that I like to help you guys climb. So, I do like taking Dark Harvest, Sudden Impact, Eyeball Collection, Ravenous Hunter. This is because I like going the lethality Pantheon build. If the enemy team has really squishy characters, I like going the lethality with the Eclipse into Collector. I know that a lot of the other players will play the Conqueror build. Those are for the extended team fights or extended fights. I just like how Dark Harvest pairs with lethality, same thing it does with Graves, where you try to just burst down somebody real quick, and then every time you burst somebody down, you get a new Dark Harvest proc. And it pairs really well with the Collector that I like building on him. That is all based on team comp. If you are picking him early on and then you just see the enemy team comp round out into something a little bit more tanky and beefy, then you can certainly go the Conqueror, and then you'd go like Gore Drinker as your mythic. And then you could go like Gore Drinker into Death Dance and like some of the tankier resistance items. But he does play early, so that's why I like the Dark Harvest, and he just wants to snowball off his early lead, which lethality pairs really well with. For the secondary tree, I do like going Triumph, or when you burst somebody down, you get the health regen right back, along with Bloodline. That can either go Tenacity, depending on the enemy team comp and how much CC the enemy has, but I typically like the Bloodline for the lifesteal. So then we'll take a quick look at his skills. So Pantheon is a very big bully in the early level just because of his kit and how much free harass he has and free like traits he has. So let me look up. So I do like leveling up the Q first. It's just when you're farming waves and the enemy walks up, your Q, you can either tap it to do a quick thrust, and then it refunds half the cooldown on it, or you can hold it to get an extended throw, kind of like Pikes. His passive is the red bars under his health bar right here. And when you have that stacked up, your next skill is empowered. You also have ways to get this stacked up with like your ulti and when you base. So on the empowered Q, it just does more damage. And then you can also crit people that are under 20% health, so that's when it also pairs really well with Dark Harvest. It becomes really strong execute numbers with like the lethality and Dark Harvest. So I really like that with that because of that's why I really like the Dark Harvest build, to just snowball early on leads. So that's just his Q. It's pretty straightforward. You can use it to either farm waves or like harass people that are stepping up to CS. It has a really like long actual Q range where just a stab here will go this far, which is a lot more further than your opponent would expect from a melee champion. His W is just a point and click stun, and then if it is empowered, you see that I just did the 5 auto attacks on the target that I stunned. That's the empowered version. Without that, it's just a regular stun and then auto attack, but it does give you the stacks of the your passive, because it counts as individual auto attacks, I believe. And then his E, this is how he trades really well, and how you can kind of take almost every trade when your skills are on cooldown after you hit level 3 is he just puts the shield up in a target direction, kind of like Brahms, and then he just does a rapid stabbing motion where it does like a slight damage over time onto targets in front of you. You can press E early on to cancel it and just get a slight burst, and it just does like a slight little burst at the end of it. But the direction that he is placing his shield, he becomes immune from all sources of damage in that direction. That does not include tower shots. They have changed it so tower shots will still hit you through the shield, so that you can't just go for the early game tower dives and like tank a tower shot or two with that ability. So you don't want to always tower dive with him and rely on that ability. And then his ulti is the semi-global ulti where he throws the spear down, and they change it so that he does damage on the center of it now. It will take some time to get used to aiming that because you have to lead it and there is a travel time. But it is just, like most of the global ulti, just really good at if you have the map awareness to use it. That's why I do like taking TP on Pantheon, even though he is an early game lane bully, because like off of a back you can actually walk from like your fountain to create a gank bot and then TP back either mid or top so you don't actually miss the wave. So like if the enemy team is pushing up and they're in a really long line or long lane, you can just put the Pantheon ulti behind them and then get a flank on them after you pick up the kill. Just TP back mid so you don't miss any waves, or you can even take like a TP flank top if you have a ward in there. So he does require some map awareness to play and make the most use out of his ultis. Other than that, he does really like the snowball early on, and that's why he's such a bully, where you can just walk up after you hit level 3. Even if you're not even level 3 yet, you can take trades where if you have your empowered W up, and you see the combo I did right there, if an enemy laner is going up to take CS and they walk into range, you just take that quick trade on him, and you can even like auto attack and then Q there, or you can back away and then launch another Q, so that you just get some free harass. If you're level 3, you can stack up your passive on minions because it's any attacks, not just on champions, and then you go for the trade here and then you put up the shield in his direction so that you take no damage or very minimal damage on the response from your opponent. So that is just the basics of Pantheon and how he plays. In the next episode, we'll go a little bit deeper into the build paths and his power spikes. Thank you for checking out my champion guide. I hope that the tips in this video help you guys in your climb. I know that these are not the most popular builds in playstyles, however they are stepping stones to future gameplay. As a player, you can't expect to immediately play at a high level, just as you wouldn't expect a medical student to do a heart transplant without building up. Please let me know in the comments below the next champion you want to see. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe for future content. I hope these tips helped, and as always, keep climbing.